Hello, eXp. Seth Siegler, your Chief Innovation Officer, here again with another Executive Masterclass. This time we're going to be talking about Google's Gemini. So many of you probably have heard of Gemini, and many of you have probably even used Gemini over the months and last year or so. And most of you have probably been disappointed in it if it was a while ago since you have last tried it. What we have seen, though, is that Google has made in the last few months at the time of this recording in December here, early December, Google has made a huge advance in their Gemini offering. So what Gemini is essentially, and I will say that the Google naming convention is a little confusing, but the Gemini that we're mostly going to be talking about today is the Google competitor to ChatGPT. So whereas ChatGPT is kind of the brand name that we all think about when it comes to an AI chatbot, Google has pretty much for the same amount of time, or shortly, after ChatGPT launched, Google had the Gemini offering as well. As I said, it was definitely lagging behind ChatGPT for most of the time that those two products existed. That has really all changed with the latest, I'd say 3 to 4 months or so of releases from Google, and then absolutely flipped, in many people's opinion, flipped completely around with the release of starting with Gemini 3, which is the 3.0 version of their Gemini AI model. So we're going to take a look at the product today because as a company, as a staff here at eXp, we have switched to using Gemini after 2 full years of enterprise ChatGPT. That's how excited we are about it. That's how much we are seeing in its current sort of state and where we think it's going to go in the future. I'll touch on it as we go about why we made that decision. But today I'm really just going to mostly focus on how to use it. Some of the strong suits, some of the things that it does differently than ChatGPT, and we'll just kind of run through it here in real time as a demo. So to get to Gemini, that's the first thing. If you are a staff member at eXp, you have access to Gemini Pro, which will include a lot of the goodies. If you're an agent here at eXp, you, as anybody on the internet, can also access Gemini mostly for free. The free version has a limited amount of access to some of the more powerful tools and powerful models, but Google gives you a way to upgrade. It's pretty economical. Google has obviously a major economy of scale, but to get there, no matter what, whether you're an agent or a staff member or a member of the general public, you just go to Gemini.google.com. So Gemini, Gemini.google.com, and you should see something like this if you're logged in with a Google account or a Gmail account or whatever. If you do have access to Pro, right? If you're on the staff here, or if you've upgraded yourself, then you've got access to Pro. It'll say Pro up here. The rest of this UI, if you have used ChatGPT in the past, should look pretty similar. That's, I'm sure, no accident. This is sort of a well-blazed trail of probably millions, if not billions, of A/B testing sessions, and this is generally what all of the chatbot tools look like these days. So let's dig into it. First of all, obviously, you've got a place to type your prompt, and then you've got this tools thing here. If you click that, you can see some different tools. Some of these have the same name as a ChatGPT version. Deep Research is the same exact thing that ChatGPT has. So we'll try that tool here in just a moment to see it in action. But Deep Research essentially lets you assign a research task to this AI, and then it will search however many different stops around the internet it needs to. I mean, it may be 50, 100 different websites. It'll search those, decide on their applicability for whatever the research topic is, and then distill everything down into absolutely insanely detailed research paper, just the way a research intern might do for you, or a research team member might do for you. Then the next thing is something that you would not have access to in ChatGPT, and that's to create videos using Google's text to video model called Veo. The 3.1 is the absolute latest version of it as of this recording. And what that does is it lets you literally describe what you want it to show a video of, anything you might want within reason. And then it will create the video just from that text. Videos will be short, but again, it's kind of early in this technology, but they will be absolutely realistic looking. Very, very, very useful feature, especially if you're a real estate agent here at eXp or anywhere. Create images, and with a little banana icon, that is a funny little Google thing. So the image generator AI model that Google uses is nicknamed Nano Banana. So we see a little call out on that up here on the top, Nano Banana Pro. That's the name of their image generating model. So just like ChatGPT, you can ask it to describe, you just describe what you want it to create a picture of, and it will do it. But the Google version, Nano Banana, is incredible. I'll show you some stuff, some demos on that as well. We'll have it create some images for us. Then Canvas, this is kind of mostly used for vibe coding, actually. So whereas we still use Lovable for the most part for a lot of our vibe coding here, we also use other tools like Cursor and Claude Code and stuff. But Canvas lets you vibe code right here inside of Gemini, and we'll use that too. And then finally, guided learning, super cool tool. If there is a topic you're trying to learn about, this can kind of guide you through that process in a digestible way. There is so much to learn about these days, so much happening in our industry, so much happening in technology. This is actually a really cool feature. It's not just for students. So I suggest you check that out too. And then we've got the classic add files option here. One very cool thing besides attaching a file, and of course you can attach any kind of file you want here, Word, document, PDFs, images, videos, anything you want can upload it here. But you can also attach stuff from your Google Drive. Since this is a Google product, right? This is Google Gemini. It's deeply integrated, all the way integrated with all things Google apps, including Google Drive. So you don't even have to have the file you're looking for on your local computer. It could be up in your Google Drive. And then importing code. So again, for coding, this becomes a very, very powerful tool. There's a lot of different ways to access a Gemini AI model if you're coding, but this is one of them, and that's just importing code directly into it. So two more things to check out, and then we'll get into this a little bit more. But where it says fast right now, that simplifies the model selection, right? So depending on your task and depending on your subscription level to Gemini, you'll have a couple of options here: fast, and then thinking with 3 Pro. So 3 Pro is Gemini 3 Pro, and the fast option is Gemini 3, just the regular version of it. So 3 Pro will take longer, but reason through a query or a task in a much more thorough and robust way. So it's like if you ask anybody on your team to do something, you may say, "Hey, real quick, what's the answer to this question?" That's your fast model. And then if you say something like, "We need to really think through a strategy for doing X, Y, and Z, that's where you're going to want to use the thinking query. Now, depending on your subscription level, you will only get a certain amount of thinking queries per day, just because of literal resources in the world is what's limiting us there. So Google has only so much compute power to reason through everybody's queries, and so again, depending on your subscription level, you'll have a given amount of those queries to use. It's getting more and more, which is cool. So that's really the gist of it, right? From the UI perspective. On the left side, you've got all of your previous chats, and then of course the microphone, right? So where you can just talk to Gemini, which is pretty handy too. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's try some stuff, right? So you can do anything that you might expect, right? Tell me about how eXp Realty might compare to an older legacy brokerage like one of the Anywhere brands. Let's start with something spicy. So obviously this works like that, right? We got a traditional chatbot experience, very straightforward. If you've used ChatGPT, there is nothing to learn about using Gemini. There's no learning curve, right? The same way you used it for the same types of queries, you can do all of that stuff over here in Gemini. And that's the first takeaway here that I want to make sure you're aware of, right? There's just some additional capabilities, which is kind of neat. And also it's a little bit streamlined. I think if you remember with ChatGPT, the model select was up here, and that, there were too many options. You had, like 03 Pro, 04 Mini, right? And too many things, right? So this kind of keeps it simple. So if we want to ask it something more, something that'll require some reasoning, okay, thanks for that info. If a independent broker who is running their own brokerage with 100 years of history in a small town is interested in coming over to eXp because of the revenue share opportunities and networking, how could they explain the benefits to their team in a way that will really make sense to each of the different agent personas that they may have among their ranks? So this is this is a random thing, right? But just something to show why you might use the thinking mode, right? So this is not a straightforward question that I asked it, and it has multiple answers because I asked it about how something should be explained to multiple different personas. That's why it shows the thinking mode in this one. And here it's going to really, it took a little while here, and it had a chain of thought that it went through, and we can expand to see how it actually thought through this. So it said examining the eXp Realty appeals, composing a broker guide, reframing the transition. So this is actually really kind of neat here. So it said I've gathered enough information, right? And then this is where a non-reasoning or non-thinking model might have just answered. But then it actually changed its mind a little bit along the way while it was reasoning, and says that its focus has shifted. It's actually really about crafting the narrative, not just the features. And that's exactly how we should all explain eXp Realty, right? So it is about, the narrative is not just about the features. There's much more than that to eXp. So this is a really good example of real reasoning. And this is something, this type of reasoning at this level and this type of accuracy and almost humanness is something that a lot of people have said, a lot of experts in the AI field have said they've noticed is especially prevalent with Gemini 3 in the reasoning mode. So here we've got our answer. This gives us something to talk to this, brokerage owner. And that's a great example of the thinking versus the fast answer capability here within Gemini. So let's do something else now. Let's grab a picture of a, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come over here, which is, I've just opened a new tab now, picture of, and I'm going to download a picture of an empty room in a house. Because I want to show you something that is really quite cool. I'm going to just save this image. And I want to show you something really cool on how Nano Banana works, right? So on how the image generation works. So if you have used the image generator on ChatGPT, probably something that you've noticed that's super annoying is that it changes some of the details. If you're like, here, stage this room on ChatGPT, if you did that, it might eliminate a window or add a new window or change the size of the room, right? Or get rid of a door, make the door a different shape. When all we've asked it to do was stage the room. So I've just uploaded a picture of an empty room, as you can see here. And then here, I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna say, add furniture and decorations and full staging to this room to show people how it might look in a mid-century modern way, right? So I'm just going to do this here, and I've asked it to basically virtually stage the room. And now I want you to really look at this room and notice where the windows are, where the door is, this interesting, ceiling detail, where the AC vent is, HVAC vent is there. And you're going to see that that the Google Gemini Nano Banana is going to do a really good job of maintaining those important details that we wouldn't change if we were just asking it to add furniture and virtually stage it. So here you are. If you are a real estate, if you're a real estate practitioner out there, and if you're paying for virtual staging software, you should stop because you can use Gemini for that now going forward, right? So let's take a look at this. Everything about the room looks to me to be the same, and it's virtually staged, right? The windows are in the same place. We've still got that ceiling detail. It didn't change the fan. It didn't move these light fixtures. The door is in the same place. The AC vent is in the same place. It didn't change any of that stuff. It only staged it. So your virtual staging is here. If you're on staff, you can probably think of any other, any number of different things that you can do with this. We can change anything. We can change our headshots. We can do all sorts of stuff. We can generate images from complete scratch also. But this is an example of how powerful the image generator is here in Gemini. So now let's see if we can do this right now. So we can try the create video one, right? So it's going to say that it's going to start a new chat. Let's upload that same image that we uploaded before, the empty room. I'm going to say create a walking video of this room where the viewer moves from the current yeah. Hard to tap my camera. Perspective towards the windows, right? So we're going to sort of just make it so we're like walking into the room. And it should, again, keep all of the things the same. Not sure how useful this example is, but I just want to show you that we can create a video from text. We can give it sort of a keyframe, like an image like this, and it'll create the rest. You can give it 2 images, like a beginning and an end maybe, and tell it to sort of animate it or, fill in everything between there. And it'll do a really kind of neat job. And you can leave this tab while it's working on it and come over and do something else. But again, this is just a really interesting, neat feature of Gemini. So I'm going to let that one cook here for a minute. And I'm going to come over here now. So here, let's take a look at deep research this time. The deep research works a little bit differently on Gemini versus, whoops, I forgot to share. So I'm over here on this tab now. All I've done, I'll start from scratch, is click Tools, and I clicked Deep Research. You'll notice some different stuff popped up though when I did that. And this is where this deep research is a bit more useful and more powerful than the deep research that was in ChatGPT. So we can give this one sources. So if you have ever used, if you've ever suffered from having a chatbot hallucinate on you, the way to reduce hallucination is to ground your query or ground your AI. And what that means is to give it resources to go on, to give it background information, to give it guardrails on sort of what it should do, the information it should use. And that will give it less reason to fill in the blanks creatively, which is hallucination. And this deep research feature gives you those tools to do so now. So you can limit with guardrails or enhance with grounding how the sources it has access to. So we can say, use Google search for your research. You probably do want that almost always. But we could turn that off. We can say, no, limit it to just my email. Do a deep research into my email. We can say, just use files in Google Drive, and then we can select those files. So I'm going to say, let's do a search this time, just using Google search. And I could upload different files and things like that as well. And yeah, I'm not going to do that this time. And I'm going to just give it a task to deeply research something that might be really interesting for my role here. And you could do this with your role, as well, of course. So I'm going to use the microphone. Help me research how other publicly traded companies and large real estate brokerages are leveraging vibe coding to speed the pace of their software delivery and or innovate in other ways. And I just want to compare that to how we're doing things at eXp Realty and how much we're using and leveraging vibe coding. Let's see. I kind of want to benchmark where we are. I want to get some ideas from how other companies are leveraging, a bleeding edge technology like this. And this is something that I'd like to see, right? So I'm asking it to create a research paper for me, essentially. I could spend the next 2-3 hours. I could spend this whole afternoon researching this, but I won't. I don't need to anymore. I'm going to have this AI do it for me. And that's what deep research is for. So if you haven't used deep research, this is what it's all about. Again, the Gemini version of this, though, is kind of a bit more robust. And this is what it looks like. It gives you a plan of action that you can edit or just kick off, right? So it says, here's based on what I asked it to do, which was basically a brain dump of words I just said. Not very concise and not very well thought out. It has made that into something much better. And then it's going to sort of, I can look at all this stuff and I can read what it says, and then it's going to analyze the results, and then it's going to create a report, and it'll be ready in a few minutes. So I can look at this and see. I could say like, oh no, don't do Zillow, right? That's not a real estate brokerage that's comparable to us. I could edit that plan here, but I'm not gonna, just for the sake of this demo, I'm just gonna say, yeah, fine, just start research. And this will run for quite some time. This may run for 15 minutes. This might run for a half hour, but it's going to do a seriously thorough job. This is like having a highly paid, very expensive researcher on your team. Somebody that would be difficult to, to hire. But we can see what it's doing. We can see some of the websites it's looking at, which is kind of neat. It's looking at Cloudflare, what is vibe coding. It's looking at Wikipedia vibe coding, getting a lot of information. It's looking at the eXp World Holdings website, and then it's defining vibe coding. So this is its chain of thought. So not going to be that interesting to look at in progress, but we can circle back here and maybe it'll be done by the time we finish recording here. I'm going to come back and check in on our video that I asked it to create. So real time here. I'm not sure how it did. Let's find out. If you recall, I uploaded this static image of an empty room, right? If I were an agent, this might be an empty room in a new listing of mine. And I asked it to create a walking video to move from basically the perspective that I had towards the windows. So here we are in this room, looks the same. I'm gonna press this button. Here we go. Pretty cool. And I could have given this more. So obviously new windows appeared right in the middle of the video. That's not ideal. But I could ask it to not do that, obviously. And the more information I had given it in my prompt, you can see the potential here with this, right? The more information I had given it in my prompt, the better that video would have been. Since I'm asking it to create a video of something that is real and exists, I would have wanted to give this as many photos of that as possible. So ideally, I would have given it the beginning, image that I did give it, and then give it another image of what it should look like at the end of that walk, and then ask it to create the walking between those two photos. But the other thing is that you can create anything else here. You can say, create a video of a, helicopter view flying over Liberty Station in Point Loma, San Diego, right? That's a real place. Google and Gemini have lots of images of that, and it could create that video for you. And then you could put that on your area page for, if you work in that area, right? So these are different things, different use cases for what you can use the video for. Anyway, that's like a very, very powerful feature of Gemini. One more thing I think I'm going to show off here is Canvas. So Canvas is kind of like the built-in version of almost like a Lovable, which is a vibe coding tool if you haven't used that, right here inside of Gemini. I think that this has use cases, right? If you have access to both Lovable and Gemini at the time of this recording, you can build something much more robust in Lovable. But Gemini as a coding model, Gemini 3 as a coding model is very good. And so using it here to write some code could be kind of neat, right? So I'm going to say, let's build a informational website portal for vibe coding information for staff at eXp Realty. Incorporate all the info in the attached document and give users a way to fill in a form to contact Seth.Siegler at exprealty.net for more info or questions, right? So I've asked it to do that. I'm going to attach from my Google Drive a vibe coding process and policy document that I'm asking it to get all of its information from. So I just use the feature where I can just connect directly to a document from my Google Drive, and I'm going to press go. And we will see it, since I'm in the canvas mode, we will see it write a whole bunch of code. And it's going to first decide on its strategy for building it and architecture. And then you'll see that this will slide over and it's going to write a bunch of code. It's chosen to use React, which you can choose to know about if you want, but you don't have to know too much about what it's doing here. And when it's finished, it should give you a preview button over here to actually run your code and see your app. When I was using this morning, Gemini was experiencing some kind of a bug and the preview button wasn't showing up, but we'll see if it shows up this time, and then we'll go from there. Oh, and then there's one more feature that we'll look at after this too. I just remembered. But let's see how it does. It's spinning, but it's writing a bunch of code, which is pretty cool, right? Look at all this stuff that it's doing, and it's still going. It's taking the information out of the document that I attached, and it's incorporating that, and it's building this whole site, right? So I'm somebody that came from a software engineering, background. I'm a software developer, startup founder, type of person. This is stuff that I used to have to do, right? And then this really frees everybody up to be able to kind of just jump in and do this. So no matter what, everybody's a bit of a coder now, however much or little you know about coding. This made the whole portal for me. So I could download this and deploy it somewhere and then have my site. There should be, and there normally is, a little button that would appear here. I'll show you in a previous thing that I made. This is a, oh no, that's something else. Anyways, you can imagine, it should normally have the, oh, here we go. Oh no, actually, this is our deep research project. So this is done. I'm going to come back to this in the other tab. But anyway, that was the canvas feature. Normally there would be a preview button and then you can run your code. But it's not showing up today. It's a Gemini bug. That should work when you try it though. Now I've switched back over, jumping around here a little bit. I've switched back over to our deep research query that I asked it to perform. So if you recall, just a couple of minutes ago, I asked it to create a deep research paper for me on how other publicly traded companies and large real estate brokerages are using and leveraging vibe coding, and compare that to how we're doing it. It has finished actually much faster than I thought. Sometimes these things take 15, 20, 30 minutes. And you can see how much is here. This is a thorough and complete research paper. You can go through this. You can see the different, it creates a table of contents for you. So here we've got an emergence of vibe coding section, an industrialized model, how competitors are leveraging AI engineering. We can see what, so this is pretty neat. I can see what Zillow is doing. I can see what Redfin is doing. I can see what Open Door is doing, what Compass is doing. And then what eXp is doing finally, where our whole thing is democratization of vibe coding, where we want everybody to vibe code, right? So you've seen other videos from me talking about that. This has this in it. This knew this already, right? So Gemini found that information about eXp and knows that this is our stance on it. I didn't tell Gemini any of this. It found this. So this is some intense research that it did. This is some intense, deep research that it did. And this can be a very valuable tool in any role that you are in here at eXp, on staff or as an agent. As an agent, you can ask this to research the best performing teams in your market or in the US or in other countries and learn about how they are doing things. How are they advertising? How are they generating leads? How are they training? How do they handle onboarding? So on and so forth. Learn from what's out there, and deep research is your tool for that. So quite cool. So as I mentioned, there is one last feature I wanted to just show you, and that is gems. So what Google calls gems is what OpenAI or ChatGPT calls a custom GPT. It's very much the same thing. It's just a different name, gem. Not sure about that, but it is what they call it. Gem from Gemini. They work the same way, right? So if you wanted to create one, you just click this new gem button. You give your gem a title, you give it a description, and then you give it your instructions, and you can actually use AI to generate those instructions. So I can say like, tell people about vibe coding, right? Super lame, not enough information there. And I can say, Gemini, make this better. I can press that little pencil button and it will enhance my my prompt here. Don't need to be a prompt engineer anymore. You don't need prompts from anybody. So have Gemini create a prompt for itself. That's what that tool does. Pretty cool. And then you can attach knowledge to it. So that means attach documents. You can either upload files or you can add them just like in regular Gemini, add them from your Google Drive, and then you'll be able to start using your gem right here. So let's look at one that I made in the past. I went to an event called Supabase Select. It was a an event from a company called Supabase, if you're not familiar with them. And they talked about a whole bunch of new things that they were coming out with, a new funding round, some success stories, and all kinds of cool stuff. So to create that, and I was the only one that went from eXp. I wanted to tell everybody about it. But I would have created like a wall of text and information that nobody would have read. So I created this this gem, and it makes it so anybody can just ask about what happened or learn about what happened there and some of the announcements and stuff. So if we go into the edit view, you see I just named it that. I gave it instructions and said that you have the full summary of the of my visit there, so on and so forth. And I gave it a transcript from my Limitless AI pendant. So that's like a little pendant that I wore there that transcribed everything that I heard that day. And so I gave it that, and I gave it some news articles that Supabase released about that event, and then that was it, right? So that was the thing, and now anybody can use it, and I could say like, what was announced there, right? And then this is an example of a gem, right? So this is the Gemini flavor of a custom GPT called a gem. That's the only thing, right? So I asked it a question. It's using the custom gem. You can share these things. You can share them with everybody on Earth. You can share them with just one person. You can share them with no one. Just the same exact way that custom GPTs do it. So it's looking through its sources here, and here we go. The core theme, major infrastructure announcements, AI and developer experience updates, right? So here you go. So this is how you create a gem. If you're an agent, there are countless different things that you can do with this, as I've talked about in previous executive masterclasses. Everything I said that you can do with a custom GPT, you can do basically with a custom gem, and more capabilities seem to be coming too. So in a nutshell, that, my friends, is Gemini. It's different, but the same as a chat GPT. And the big takeaways that I would just love to impart on you is that if you're not sure about it, or you really feel, more strongly like, no, but I know and love ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or whatever, your flavor of chatbot is, and you're not sure, if you want to make the change, there's no learning curve. Essentially, it's the same stuff. even a lot of the features have the same names, right? Deep research is a good example of that. It's really quite basic to use. It does learn about you as you use it, the same way that ChatGPT and Claude do. It has memory. And it seems to be getting better at a faster pace than any of the other competitors right now. Google just has more resources to put into this than any other company. That's what it comes down to. They even invented their own type of server to run these things on. And a type of instead of a GPU, they use a TPU, something that they invented and only they have. And so there is a very good chance, it's very likely, and it seems to be happening, that Google will run away with this here in the short-term future, at least. So it's a really powerful tool. If you've used Gemini, if you tried it and it was more than 1 month ago, then you should definitely try it again. And I think that you'll be really surprised at how good it is. And especially compared to how it was. It's all moving very quickly, but it's very easy to use. And if you use Google apps, especially, like Google Mail and Drive and stuff like that, then Gemini is especially good because it's just fully baked into all of that. You can access and query things about your email, access and query documents that are in your Google Drive. And it just makes life easier. So I really like it. I've been using it a ton, as you could probably see when I opened up the sidebar previous chats there. But yeah, I recommend it. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to me in the hub chat. Yeah, and that's that. Love to geek out. Thanks for having me today. I hope you found this interesting, and we'll see you next time.